So this is the current state of my garden, and you can see it's gotten pretty bad over the last few months, and I really need to clean this up because I'm getting ready for fall. There's a few things in here I'm going to keep, like the kale and the jalapenos, unless they're ready to harvest, but for the most part I'm going to take everything out, including the green onions, because they have just gone out of control and they've just gotten so large and they're just taking up the entire garden. So I can take them out, and then this time next year or earlier next spring I'll be able to start fresh. And so yeah, let's go and start cleaning this disaster up. Hey there, welcome to my channel, Mess with Michelle. If you're returning, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Michelle. So that was a very quick intro to show you my very overgrown vegetable garden. It's just the beginning of fall when I'm filming this video, and my garden has brought so many delicious vegetables, but now it's come to the end of the season and I really need to start cleaning up my garden. As you can see, it's really overgrown. My green onions are definitely out of control, and I'm just going to tidy things up and get set for the fall, so next spring I have a nice fresh garden to start with when I start to replant. This is my third year planting a vegetable garden. I started planting back in 2020 just as a little side hobby, and I've really grown to like gardening and just taking care of my veggies, seeing them grow, and just kind of playing around with what vegetables I like to grow and what works in the garden and what doesn't necessarily work. This year I planted tomatoes, kale, jalapenos, green beans, which turned out amazing. I think we had about 3 harvests of beans this year, which is great. And as you can see, my green onions are absolutely massive. These are actually from last year's garden. I didn't end up taking them out before the winter came, and I just thought they'd die off, but no, they came back with a vengeance this year, and they just grew double in size, or I should say triple in size. But they're getting to the point where they're just too big, they're overgrown, so I'm going to remove them from the garden and start fresh next spring. But it was quite amazing to see how large green onions can get, because typically when you see them in the store they're quite small. So I think I just grew a mega size green onion in my own little 4x4 garden box.
The trees, they are singing to the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, the welcome of the dawn. The voice of the robin, call of the dove, the red leaves are falling, the barn owl is calling, the welcome of the dawn. The dogs will be howling in the early morning light. All are happy to be out in the ending of the night, the welcome of the dawn. The nights are turning colder, soon the falling of the frost. Soon the summer will be over. You feel the change is closer at the welcome of the dawn. The trees, they are singing to the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, welcome of the dawn. Though the warm days are over, they are not forever gone. Like the the dusk brings the night, the summer brings the fall. It won't be long till harvest comes. Morning breaks.
A little story time to share with you about my stalks of corn. They were growing quite nicely this year, and I was determined to have a cob of corn later in the fall. So they grew really nicely. I was seeing the ears of corn growing and I was getting really excited. But of course, the squirrels got into my garden through the lattice. The lattice that I had put around the garden was great to keep out the rabbits, but I didn't consider the squirrels can just jump right through the openings. So one of my ears of corn was chomped through and it was not usable. So I just took it as a loss, but then eventually a second ear of corn was growing and I was really excited that I was actually possibly going to have a cob of corn. But funny enough, I was walking around the backyard and I saw a little ear of corn dangling from the back of the chain link fence, which I thought was so bizarre. So my suspicion is a squirrel got into the garden, stole my ear of corn, tried to travel down with it on the chain link fence, but the silks of the corn got stuck in the chain link and they had to abandon ship and their little treasure that they found. So that was just funny but disappointing at the same time. So next year I'm going to have to find just maybe a little bit better of a fence or barrier to keep the rabbits and the squirrels out of the garden. Be sure to stay until the end of the video because I'm going to share a few clips of the garden at the end of September versus just a few days ago, which was mid-October, and such a huge difference a few weeks makes with the changing leaves. The tree in this clip is my Autumn Blaze. I planted it back in 2020. It's green in spring and summer, but in the fall it turns a stunning bright red, and that's why it's called an Autumn Blaze. So be sure to see the clips of the tree and what it looks like in the fall. You don't want to miss that. Now moving on to remove my flowers. I planted these back in the spring. I was hoping to have a fuller flower bed at the base of the tree, but it didn't quite turn out that way. So I think I have to find a different flower that's a little bit more fuller and grows better in clusters. When I filmed this video, it was the end of September and it was unusually hot. It felt like the middle of summer rather than beginning of fall. I wanted to make sure that my cedars did not die this year because of the heat. I wanted to make sure that they were really well watered because last year I had a couple that had died, so I had to replant them. So I'm going to quickly give them a bit of a soaking, but I just want to share with you the hose that I have. It is a retractable hose. It's absolutely amazing. When you turn the water on, it will grow to about 100 feet or 50 feet depending on the length you buy, and when you turn the water off, it shrinks up to just half the size. So it's so convenient, and I'll show you when it starts to get the water flow turned off and then it shrinks back up. But now I'm just going to give my cedars a really good soaking, and I'm going to make sure that they're nice and hydrated. I'm just about to turn the water off, and you can see now that the water is off, the hose starts to shrink back down. So with the water off, I just put the hose on to get any excess water out, and then it just continues to shrink to half the size. I can't go back to a regular hose now that I have this one. It's so convenient, it's so easy to carry, it's lightweight, and it's great because it only takes a second or so to ravel it up on the hose holder, and there's no kinks or no hassle. So definitely something I would recommend looking into if you want a hassle-free hose for your backyard or front yard. I'm just going to quickly share with you a small project. Well, I shouldn't say small, but a project that I was holding off to do until the fall. In the summer, I painted my front door and the front pillars to change the exterior look of the house, but I held off painting the garage doors just because it was so hot outside. So now that it's a bit cooler and it's not so sweltering out, I'm going to tackle the garage doors. So I'm using Benjamin Moore Regal Select, and this is the high build, low luster exterior paint in the color Night Horizon, and it's not even a chocolate brown, but a nice rich brown. So I've already started painting the right side door the day prior, and now I'm just finishing off and starting to finish off this project. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm just going to finish up a few more little painting clips and then I'll show you the end result. But I really appreciate you watching my video as I clean up and tackle my little painting project outside. I will catch you next time when I upload my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.